Hallo,
Hallo.
willkommen zurück zu Super Segoke Buchclub. Wir lesen heute mal wieder weiter Infinity Sun von unserem Boy Adam Silvera.
Yes.
Wir sind jetzt mittlerweile bei Kapitel 26 angekommen. Ähm, also damit fangen wir heute an natürlich. Äh,
Yes.
ich schon einiges, muss ich sagen. Wir haben auch ein bisschen was gelernt. Vielleicht nicht so viel, wie man hätte lernen können in der Zeit, aber einiges über die Welt und so.
Mhm.
Und letztes Mal, da haben wir Ness kennengelernt, genau, oder? Das war das, ne?
Yes. Also Emil hat Ness richtig kennengelernt. Wir kannten den ja schon vorher.
Ja, aber die haben jetzt, also wir wissen jetzt so ein bisschen das Ness Vergangenheit mit seinem
Yes.
Vater und seiner
Die hatten so
Mutter.
ein bisschen Deep Talk.
Genau, die waren voll zusammen gegeneinander so relatable und waren so, boah,
Yes.
Eltern sind so nicht da, Leute.
Und dann war Ness so, yo, I guess ich kann dir erzählen, was Luna so vorhat. Und war so, yo, die will basically immortal werden, indem sie sich dieses Reapers Blood zusammenmischt. Und dann ist sie so ein Geist und ein Phönix und eine Hydra
Mhm.
oder so.
Ja, ja.
Solche Sachen, irgendwie die 3 Sachen, glaube ich. Und dann, ja, ist sie halt krass und so. Und dafür brauchen die eben diesen Century Phoenix, von dem wir vorher schon gehört haben. Und sie möchte irgendwie die Geister ihrer Eltern oder so dafür
Ja, das
benutzen
war das
und
nächste,
solche
glaube ich.
Sachen.
Was
Yes.
muss irgendwie so in ihrer Verwandtschaft liegen und die Geister mussten irgendwie noch richtig kacke sein auf jeden Fall. Also, like, in der Abneigung haben, dass sie gestorben sind oder so, I guess, I don't know.
Ja, und sie hat sie ja irgendwie selber umgebracht, als sie noch jung war und I don't know.
Ja, und das ist
Aber
einfach
ja, wie das
kacke.
jetzt weitergeht und ob sie
Das,
das verhindern können,
das sehen
sehen wir
wir jetzt, ne?
bald.
Ah ja. Chapter 26. Rise up. Nur Rise. Emil. The spellwalkers are hitting me with questions left and right. How do we know Ness isn't sending us straight into a trap? Why did he reveal everything to me? Is June stoppable? Do we have any chance in hell at actually beating the Bloodcasters? There are no sure answers, but we've thrown into a frenzy as we suit up and head for the cars. Iris tries convincing Ness to come along, but he simply tells her that the only way he's going to the cemetery to face Luna is if he's a dead body they can bury. I can't find Brighton for a see you later when we head out. And it turns out it's because he's been sitting in the far back seat all along. Get out, Iris says as she takes the driver's seat. No, if Luna's actually going to be there, then I can film her and we can finally pin her to her crimes. It's too dangerous, I say. Please, Bright, sit this one out. You guys are going to have to drag me out, and that's time better spent getting to the cemetery, Brighton says. I hope the stars are with us, Iris says. Maribel, Atlas, and Wesley get in, and we take off. Prudencia isn't here to watch his back either. The Spellwalkers are hoping to use the Crowned Dreamer for that much needed power boost to get us through this night. They have an advantage over the Bloodcasters too, since their gleam is natural, which makes me lucky to be on the right side. But as we pull in and park, my chest is so tight. There's no preparing for these impossibilities. Older cemetery is so damn winter cold that everyone's breath is clouding the air around us as we continue searching for the Bloodcasters. This darkness is too much for a city boy. I need streetlights. The deeper I go across the field, past unmarked graves, but all we have to guide us are the brightening stars of the crowned dreamer, whose shape is becoming clearer every night. If we don't stop the gang, Luna will be closer to remaking the world. And if there's any possibility for a power binding potion, who knows if it'll be enough to work on Luna drinks once she drinks the Reaper's blood. We should invest in codes, Wesley says. I cast a fire orb for warmth and light. What I swore were branches snapping underneath my feet have actually been a tray of thin blackened bones that lead into a tree. Okay, what? Brighton follows the trail with his camera. Bright, look alive. Documenting, Brighton says. You really shouldn't be here. Neither should you. I don't want to be, I say, but it's different and you know it. I messed up and I'm going to make this right. Showing more initiative than your favorite shapeshifter who's lounging at Nova and probably sweet-talking his way to get some Netflix going. Die hat Internet? Yeah, I guess.
Ja.
I'm not going to get pissed at someone who doesn't want to fight because they want to live. I get it. Was ist, wenn die einfach Brighton hängen? Da wissen die ja, wo die sind. So.
Ja.
Gibt bestimmt so eine Power. So, ne? Internet, lol.
Ja, richtiger Gnome, der sich so durch das Netz
Ja.
dingsen kann.
Die Powers sind auch so ein Ding von, du kannst dir vorstellen, dass sowas existiert und dass es irgendwie funktioniert.
Ja.
Und dann kriegst du das. Boom. If he didn't want powers, he shouldn't have signed up for them, Brighton presses. I'm about to beg him to cut the hero act and turn around and leave when Iris signals to us to shut up. She crouches behind the statue of a headless Hydra. Was ist das für ein... Was ist das für ein Friedhof, ne?
Ja.
Like, was ist da los? Ich meine, I don't know. Hat bestimmt eine Menge, like, Lore und so in deren Familien und sowas.
Yes, bestimmt.
Even though wintry winds are doubling down, I clasp my hands and crush the fire orb. My fingers instantly cold again, so it won't give us away. Down a hill, the three bloodcasters are spread out like a pyramid, with dark ropes connecting them, and they're surrounded by a dozen acolytes in ceremonial robes. Seems ein bisschen unnötig, aber naja, I guess. They're all protecting a short man with deathly white skin and hair as grey as storm clouds. The alchemist, Anklin Prince, is standing between two graves while holding a metallic urn with a stone rim. I can't make out the golden glyphs emblazoned on the base, but they're burning bright as Anklin chants. Across from Anklin is none other than Luna Marnette. She's never out in the open. If Ness wasn't detained at Nova, I would have sworn he was posing as her. But this must be legit. Her face is gaunt and she's staring intently at the urn. Her tangled silver hair reaches down to her waist, and there are three sheeted daggers hanging from her belt. She's wearing laced gloves that twinkle under the moonlight. I don't know the sound of her voice or her eye color, but I already feel so haunted by her. Ness said that she doesn't need power to be powerful, and I get it. I shiver as the cold strikes again. I guess messing with the dead must be responsible for these chills. Keep your distance, okay? I whisper. Brighton shakes his head. You do your job and I do mine. He's going to get us killed, I know it. We are all huddled together, doing our best not to be seen by Luna's people. We got to get that urn, Atlas says. Wesley, that's all you. We have no idea what those ropes do, Iris says. It's probably ceremonial, Maribel says. Wesley can be in and out, and we should take advantage while we still have the element of surprise. A bone snaps behind us and someone shouts, Spellwalkers! An acolyte. Atlas blasts him off his feet. Spellwalk explodes around us, blowing apart the statue's body. Everything we planned in the car has already gone to hell, but we'll do whatever it takes to stop Luna from capturing her parents' ghosts.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Two acolytes chase me and the cold air is filling my lungs, like times I would run from the train station to my building during winter just so I could get inside somewhere warm. Bolts of electric blue light sail past my shoulder and blow up around my feet. I jump behind a tree that shakes after a spell shoots through it. I pop out and nail an acolyte in the ankle with a fire dart, and the other trips over him. I keep it moving, relieved to find Brighton crouched behind some bushes that must belong to someone who was rich as hell in life. The bloodcasters have got me straight scared with how still they are. Why aren't Stanton or Dion or June dropping the rope to fight? It's got to be more than ceremony. In a blur, Wesley charges toward the triad of specters and leaps into the air. But once he crosses the rope, a radiant gold force field rebounds him. Wesley flips through the air and his back bangs against a massive headstone. Wesley falls face first into the dirt, the stillest I've ever seen him. Wesley leaves swirl around Atlas, and he punches the air, his wings carrying 6 acolytes off their feet and collapsing all around. We run to Wesley and flip him over. Atlas shakes him, but his eyes remain closed. Is he breathing? I ask. Atlas nods when he feels a pulse. We got to get him to Eva. I look back and forth between the bloodcasters and Wesley. Let's get him out of here. Spellwork continues unloading around us. I don't think I ever get used to the sound or the idea that someone is trying to shoot me. Can't imagine Luna wants me as a weapon. You don't go around snapping swords in half that you intend to stab someone with later. Iris. She fights her way back to us, hurling acolytes left and right. Every time a spell hits her, she stumbles, but none are strong enough to pierce her skin. Her eyes widen when she sees Wesley. Tell me he's not dead. Not yet. We got to get him to Eva. I should have let her come along. I'm so stupid. No time for a guilt trip, Atlas interrupts. I'm going to knock out everyone and you get Wesley to the car. I forever wish I had power to teleport instead of creating fire. Especially now, when it means I could get Wesley to safety. But his health is counting on me to be on the offense, so I follow Atlas back into battle. He's doing his best to hurl funnels of wind while dodging spellwork. Maribel is floating around, kicking wands out of the hands from acolytes. She throws a gem grenade at June, but the force field sends it back, exploding in mid-air. I take a deep breath and go off on all these acolytes. Fire darts straight into the acolyte aiming a wand at me, and another into the one shooting at Atlas. An acolyte jumps out of the tree with a net to try and capture Maribel, and I cast the fire orb, timing it perfectly to explode against his chest. Mann, was ein Skiller.
Ja.
Mittlerweile so bang, 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 alle weg. The path is as clear as it's going to be, and I have to break past the force field. I charge a fire orb and release, hoping Phoenix power will drive through, but it slings back at me at a speed I can't dodge. Wow. I don't know. Warum schießen die noch drauf? Also. The orb hits me like a hammer to the gut and knocks the wind out of me. I'm not immune to my own power. Good to know. Bad time to find out. I'm funny. Huh?
That's sad.
I'm staring up at the sky from the ground when Atlas is shot out of the air. He falls 20 feet and crashes into the dirt beside me. Atlas, Maribel appears beside us. Mary, I'm okay, Atlas weakly says. There's fury in her eyes. Watch him, she says to me. Maribel picks up a wand and takes off into the air, showing no mercy against the acolytes. The cemetery gets even colder, like I'm lying naked in streets of snow. There's a howl that's so piercing. I'm convinced I never sleep again, and it digs deep into my heart, making me feel incredibly lonely, like no one will care if I die this very second. Ankle is no longer chanting. 2 shadows of black light appear out of nowhere above the graves of Luna's parents, and turn into ghosts so lifelike they could be living people. The ghosts stare at Luna with confusion, then horror. The person before them is much older than the young woman who violently murdered them. The Manettes try holding hands, but they slip through each other. Luna's lace gloves begin to glow. The ghosts step back as she stalks towards them like a predator. The Manettes move their mouths, but no words come out, just that awful howling that makes me feel painfully empty, like I'm starving for crumbs of happiness. Unlike June, Stanton and Dion look to be suffering from this agony too, but they hold on to the ropes, locking the Manettes in as they try escaping. They pound on the force field like it's a door someone will open for them, and Mr. Manette even goes so far as to bang into it with his shoulder. Das klingt so, als wäre das voll groß und die könnten da rumrennen drin.
Ja.
Also, maybe, I don't know, so ein Seil kann lang sein. I guess.
Ja.
Mrs. Manette howls in Dion's face. Dion closes her eyes, but there's no shouting out that ghost song. Heroes aren't supposed to feel so easily defeated, but I'm damn near down for the count. I don't have the heart for this life. I can throw fire, but I get deflected. I may as well be powerless. Luna corners her father while Anklin follows her with the urn. She doesn't even say anything to him as she grabs him by the throat, her gloves sparking as she presses his face into the urn. He isn't sucked in easily, so Luna keeps pressing down on him as if her father is simply a pair of shoes she's trying to fit into a full suitcase. Within a minute, her father's ghost is gone, trapped in the urn, to be vanquished later. Mrs. Manette's ghost howls even louder as she falls to her knees. Luna circuits her like a vulture and shoves her into the urn too. Anklin feels the urn and hands it over to Luna. Her grin sends chills down my spine. "Kill them," she says in the silence. The force field vanishes when Stanton, June, and Dion drop the rope. Me and Maribel are the only active spellwalkers, with Iris tending to Wesley and Atlas a couple feet away. This is it. This is not only how we fail everyone, but we are going to die. Where we're going to be killed. Stanton charges me, and I'm quick with a fire dart, but it only stalls him for a second. He races forward, grabs my neck, and flings me through the air. My world spins as I soar across the cemetery until I slam into the ground and bang into another headstone. I'm fading in and out, fighting to keep my eyes open. Maribel is locked in hand-to-hand combat with Stanton. They're anticipating each other's punches, but Stanton speeds up, surprising her with a kick to her chin. Dion runs at me, screaming as 2 extra arms punch out of his side, and she leaps. Okay, also sie hat jetzt 4 Arme, I guess. I'm not quick enough to attack back, but Iris jumps over me and catches Dion in mid-air, slamming her to the ground. "Get the urn," Iris commands as one of Dion's new fists clocks her in the chin. I get up, fighting past all limping and dizziness. Luna's watching the chaos and doesn't flinch when I approach her. "You don't have the fire I thought you would," Luna says. "I've come this far," I say. "This is where you end, my little wonder." She slides a dagger out of a sheath. The handle is made of bone and charred black, and the serrated blade is yellow. You're familiar with the Infinity Ender, yes?" Anklin joins her side, and she hands him the blade. "I made the grave error of not stabbing Bautista in the heart when I killed him, my dear Anklin, so be sure to pierce Emil properly so we can end this bloodline once and for all." Luna walks off with the urn, and Anklin barrels into me before I can make a move. He pins his knee deep into my stomach and drives the blade down on me. I catch his wrist and try wrestling the weapon out of his hand. The phoenix cries within me, guiding my reflexes like never before, like its essence is aware that our fire might be snuffed out for good. Anklin gains control and the tip of the blade kisses my heart, and I pray Brighton isn't watching and has the common sense to get the hell out of here. I don't want to kill this man, but I have to fight for my life. I'm sweating and shouting as I ignite fire, burning Anklin's hands. Gold and grey flames crawl up his sleeves. He drops the blade beside me as he tries to extinguish the fire. I don't bother with him. I charge after Luna. I'm beat, but I'm still fast enough to catch up with her. I jump into the air and tackle her to the ground. The urn rolls out of her grip. I cast a fire dart, aim, and the second before I throw it, Luna redirects my wrist and it shoots into a plague. Luna punches me, her ring cutting into my cheek, and man, if I survive this, Ma is going to give me a hell for fighting an elderly woman, no matter how corrupt she is. Wichtige Dinge, an die man denken muss in einem Moment. I clock Luna in the chin, but it's not enough to lay her out, and I wonder how many times she's been hit during her journey that she knows how to take a punch so well.
Alter, gleich kommt eine meiner Lieblingsstellen.
Okay,
Gleich markiert.
na dann. Muss ja richtig krass sein.
Mhm.
I showed a row and grabbed the urn, running back in the direction of the car. I dodged recovering acolytes, holding on to the urn for dear life, and damn, I could have been a boss at football. Stanton steps in my path with a bloody nose. Maribel is aiming a wand at June. It's a distraction and she's falling for it. Dion and Anklin pop up behind me as Luna approaches too. You come closer and I'll pour everything out, I say, trying to twist open the urn's cap. They grin and laugh at me like they knew this would go down. Fine, stay the hell back or I'll burn it. They all calm down. Hand it over, Luna says. Phoenix song screeches higher and higher within me, and my arms are set ablaze bigger than ever before. True wings of grey and gold flames. I shoot into the air right as Stanton lunges at me. My legs are dangling and what? I'm actually flying? What? Flying isn't as weightless as I thought it would be. It's more like the worst pull-ups of my life, but I can't think with this urn in my possession, so I work harder and harder to rise high as a tree. Get him down, Luna shouts. I shift my body, holding one fist ahead of me, and I soar through the air with the wind and fire roaring in my eyes. The urn is tight in my grasp, and I fly out of the cemetery. Happiness overpowering fear for once.
Alter.
Damn. Power? Hui.
Power.
Damn, also, jetzt wird er krass, oder?
Ja, man weiß es nicht, vielleicht auch nicht.
Vielleicht stirbt er einfach vom Fallen. Jetzt ist so einfach,
Ja, ich meine, er wurde ja gerade hart gestochen mit dem Ding.
Ja, I don't know.
Aber 27, Fall. Klingt nicht gut.
Oh, das ist. Oh, aber es passt mit Rise, I guess. Das ist funny.
Ja,
Ach, er ist auch gerised voll und jetzt.
Emil is blazing like a comet, grey and gold flames streaking against the night. I lose focus on filming as my brother flies away with my favorite power. How long has Emil known he could do this? Was he keeping it a secret so he could bust it out in some blazing moment of glory? Unlike him, I'm not running away from battle. He can go back to Nova and play it safe with Ness. I don't care. But this fight doesn't end just because he got the urn. Maribel and Iris are struggling to hold their own against Stanton, Dion, and Anklin. There's a wand on the ground, and I drop the camera. Stanton spots me and is focused long enough for Iris to punch him so hard he hurtles into a trio of beat-down acolytes. I scoop up the wand, which feels as heavy as a steel bat, even though it's only as long as a cutting knife. My fingers are tight around this weapon, and I'm as powerful as I've always felt. This isn't some video game. This is the real deal. I hold the wand like I've seen so many heroes and enforcers do on YouTube. I may only get one shot, so I choose the most important target. I squint at Luna and flick the wand. The amber orange bolt misses Luna by inches and sets a tree ablaze. The force of the spell knocks me on my back, and my arm is shaking so hard like an earthquake in my wrist, and I drop the wand. Luna stares at me with a cocked head, grins, and points at me. Acolytes are on top of me in moments, and I reach for the wand, but they are dragging me away. I dig my nails into the ground, shouting for the spellwalkers to help me, but I'm flipped around by Stanton, who hovers over me with his bruised face. He pins me down with his vise-like grip and punches me between the eyes.
Damn.
Pathet.
Das war kurz.
Ja.
Aber
okay. Pathetisch.
Ich hätte nicht gelernt, dass wir jetzt kurz was lernen über die Stäbe. Ich wusste nicht, ich habe nicht viel über die Stäbe nachgedacht, du warst. Aber dass die so schwer sind und krass, also ne?
Yes.
Schwer
wie ein Metallschläger.
Ja,
aber
groß vorstellen, wie lang der ist.
Ne? Küchenmesser, ja.
Das ist einfach nur so, da müssen ja all diese Enforcers ja eigentlich auch physisch schon ultra krass sein, you know?
I mean, ja, vor allem, wenn die so richtig, you know.
Ja, und mehrmals.
Einen wegkicken.
Ja, damn. Okay. Dann mache ich wohl weiter, I guess.
Ja.
Chapter 28. Hearts.
Stopp mal kurz.
Oh,
Vor allem, was ist denn Brightons Problem eigentlich? Erstens, als ob Emil das geheim halten würde.
Ja, like,
Nur damit man krass dasteht.
Like, der hat
da
die Fähigkeiten ja gerade erst bekommen. Und wann soll er das machen?
Ja, und zweitens, natürlich rennt er jetzt weg, damit er die Urne irgendwo hinbringen kann. Hä, soll der landen und die Urne hinstellen und weiterkämpfen?
Ja,
like, was denn? Also, naja.
Das ist ja gerade die größte Priorität, dass die das nicht da machen kann. In so einem Game. Also, Aber naja, Brighton ist ja eh nicht so der Beste.
Ja.
So. Chapter 28. Hearts. Hat er mehrere? Damn.
28 halt. 28 Hearts.
28 Hearts, Emil.
Prost. Hui.
So. Chapter 28. Hearts. Emil. Minutes after taking flight, I'm not strong enough to stay up, so I ground myself on a street far away from the cemetery. Aber vorhin hat jetzt gar nichts zu tun gehabt mit Emil.
Ja.
Like,
das war ja sein Fall, er ist ja hingefallen.
True, das hat mir nie gefallen. So ein krasses Event. Hat einen Chapter-Titel verdient.
Ja.
I don't know if I'm having an easier time with powers than other specters would, since my body was never fully human, but it's still so much work, like how Wesley runs out of breath after minutes of speeding around, or how Maribel also feels weighed down when levitating. Someone films me as I'm descending with my golden grey wings of fire, and I jet around the corner when she asks for a picture. Wo ist er denn gelandet? So einfach random, ja, mitten in der Stadt.
Maybe.
I go into an alley, dig through a dumpster, and fish out a Trader Joe's paper bag to hide the urn. I don't think I'm above the law as I melt a chain to steal a bike, but I can't exactly get on the subway with trapped ghosts that our city's greatest enemy needs to make herself indestructible. I take off on the bike, the well-bagged urn hanging from the handlebar. No one is following me, and I stick to less traveled paths, turning a 20-minute ride into an hour. I'm so banged up and drained, but when I pull in at Nova, I'm ready to see everyone and hope that Wesley and Atlas are getting the healing attention they need. Eva, Prudencia, and Ma are waiting by the door. Password, Eva says. Break Luna before we can't, I say, and we're good. I hug Ma and Prudencia, so surprised and grateful to be back in their arms. Why aren't you with the others? Eva asks. Turns out I can fly. They're not back yet? Should be any minute now. I show them the urn, which is depressing all over again. Luna was ready to bleed the ghosts of her parents so she could live forever. We have to find a way to free the Manettes. The front door bangs open. Irish is shouting the password with Wesley over one shoulder, while also carrying Atlas's legs as Maribel holds him up under his arms. Why isn't Brighting helping out Maribel? Eva immediately gets to work on Wesley, howling as she absorbs his pain. Maribel is rushing her. My chest tightens. There's nothing I can do in here, so I go outside to see what's what with Brighton. Maybe he was banged up too and limping ill. He's not outside or in the car either, and I run back inside. Where's Brighton? Iris takes a deep breath and shakes her head. Where's my brother? The bloodcasters grabbed him, Iris says. Ma sucks in a breath and she presses her hand against her heart. Prudencia is holding her up and I remain motionless. It all happened so quickly, Iris says. You flew away and we were losing the fight. Brighton got his hands on a wand, and when he missed Luna, they got him. We wanted to pursue them, but... She looks at Wesley, who's recovering. You left him, Prudencia shouts. We had to act fast, Iris says. My brother is hostage to the city's worst gang, and death no longer seems like the worst thing that could happen to Brighton. This urn no longer feels like a victory. I want out of this war so badly it hurts. I want to rip out my hair and my teeth and my nails and bones. I want to scream so loud that I lose my voice. I want to stay beneath the ocean until this phoenix fire is washed out forever. I crossed the hall to take Ma's hands in mine. I'm going to get him back, I promise. She's inconsolable. They're going to kill him, Emil. They're going to kill him. No, they won't. They must need him, I say. Brighton is the biggest idiot for not listening to me to hang back, but I'm the biggest traitor out of all my lifetimes. I promised Ma I would keep Brighton safe, her only son by blood, and I abandoned him when I flew away. I'm going to bring him home and then we're all done. Her arm is shaking and her breaths are sharp, and she grips me with one hand and slams her chest with the other. She's having a heart attack.
Damn.
29. Extraordinary. Brighton. Stanton got me good with that punch. The room is dark with no windows. I'm stretched across concrete ground. I could be underground, probably not a sewer since it doesn't smell like waste, and it's too quiet to be subway tunnels. Wherever I am, the bloodcasters didn't tie me up. Maybe they didn't think I'd recover so soon. I stand, wobbling. I peek out the door, and the hallway is cold, with shafts of light coming from a flickering light bulb. This reminds me of every horror video game I refuse to play at night, and I go right back inside because there's being brave and there's being stupid. And you're always being stupid. The spellworkers are probably questioning how I ever became salutatorian, since attacking Luna wasn't exactly brilliant, but I had a weapon then, and I'm certainly not exploring this building without one. I open a locker, thinking this might be some one-star gym, until I find a toolbox. I tuck the screwdriver inside my belt and carry the wrench and hammer out into the hallway. I obviously have a bad feeling about this. No need for my blood and bones instinct. The bloodcasters must want me to walk into some trap, but my opinions are limited, and I'm certainly not going to hang around in that room hoping to hammer someone to death. I turn the corner, and an alkalite crosses from one door to another with a crate of potions. I count to 3 and sneak along the walls until I'm inside the room he left. It's a lab that's smaller and messier than my bedroom. The lighting is bright enough to worsen my headache. There are old-school cauldrons that reek of gas. Trays of feathers and scales and fur, jars of yellowed fangs and human teeth. There are unmarked ingredients that look like tree bark and crushed rubies, among others. I sat down...
Among us.
Among us. I set down the hammer and wrench on the counter, inspecting these vials of glistening celestial blood and potions of all colors that are labeled with powers. There's an open logbook with data in tight cursive, tracking where they received each power. So many have come from outside of New York. There are side effects listed, such as nausea, fever, and blood poisoning that the drinker might experience. Will drinking one give me powers? Wow. I don't know how tested these potions are, but a fraction of power is more promising than using these tools to protect me. I probably shouldn't try more than one, but I could escape with shapeshifting by posing as an alkalite or break through the walls with powerhouse strength. I hold a grey potion, dreaming about flying out of here.
Ja, aber like,
the door opens and Luna enters with...
Meinst du, Brighton kann aushalten darauf das Gefühl von, man muss richtig hart pissen?
Ich glaube nicht, er heult nur die ganze Zeit rum.
Ja, also...
The door opens and Luna enters with Dayon behind her. Ah, it's the boy who tried to assassinate me, Luna says. My aim sucked with the wand, but maybe Luna is close enough for me to throw this hammer at her head. Do everyone a favor before Dayon can tear me apart. My wrist is shaking as I keep close to the screwdriver in my belt. If they come near me, I'll drive it into their necks. I don't care. You're dying anyway, I say, lower than I hoped. We won't let you become immortal. I truly hope you had to torture my dear Ness for information about the cemetery. He's on our side. He doesn't want to see you rise to power either.
Gut gemacht,
Fascinating.
Brian.
Yeah. I didn't see him fighting alongside you. Luna coughs. I didn't see him fighting alongside you. Luna coughs, wiping blood from the corner of her chapped lips with a handkerchief that's stained red and brown. There are dark shadows underneath her eyes. Some of us stay up all night editing YouTube videos and others work on formulas for immortality. You believe I don't deserve to live, Luna says. You brought your poisoning on yourself, I say. Would you say the same about your father? Luna's mocking grin twists my insides and tightens my fist. Of course I know all about Leonardo Ray's illness. I've studied up on Keon's
Sion?
Sion?
I don't know.
Keon, Alter.
Keon
Okay. Your adopted brother. It's tragic what happened to your father. She walks around the center table and tidies her station, rolling up a blueprint I didn't get a chance to examine. You like stories, yes? Do you know the one about how my younger sister, Rain, was sick and every alchemist and practitioner I trusted to save her failed us? You're so willing to dismiss me as power hungry, when everything I do has been for life. I can't believe that this queen pin watched my videos on YouTube. You've got a lot of blood on your hands for someone who cares so much about life. Luna is absolutely fearless as she walks past me, smelling like wood smoke. Her back is to me as she trails her fingers through some black powder, pressing it to her tongue and sighing deeply. Unfortunately, life must be lost to figure out how to preserve it, restore it. She turns around and her thinning eyebrows narrow. You aren't worth killing in my grand design. You weren't even worth locking up, unlike Emil, whose true power would require us to use the heaviest of chains. You are nothing but a pawn in my possession to collect the urn your brother stole from me.
Imagine, die haben immer so für jeden Gegner, die haben, so eine Art Ranking von was für Ketten die benutzen müssen.
So eine Tierlist.
Ja.
I grab the screwdriver and thrust like it's a dagger, but Luna smacks it out of my hand. I shove her against the table and grab the lightning potion as Dion leaps across the room. I uncork the vial. Uncork. Ich entkorke.
Ja, aber like, was einfach dafür Zeit haben.
Ja.
Kann er sich nicht auf was snacken, oder?
If I'm struck with blood poisoning, it won't go away with rest and water like some common fever, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Luna knows it. My father knew it. I know it. I drink the potion and it tastes like cough syrup, rotten berries, and iron. I gag, but I don't spit it out, even when I get instantly dizzy, like whenever I was a kid and Dad would spin me around in his desk chair at work. I fight back a cough as Dion grabs me by the throat and slams me against the wall. I have no problem snapping his neck, Dion says with her menacing eyes. Luna balances herself against the table. He remains not worth it. Blood rushes to my head the tighter Dion squeezes, and there's a charge running through me, crackling throughout my arms. I think back to Atlas coaching Emil on how to call his power. I've heard it all 1,000 times from editing those clips. I focus on bringing the lightning to the surface, can feel it right beneath my skin, needing just a little more of a push. I press my hands against Dion as if to shove her, and bolts of white lightning blast through her. Dion's eyes widen and her grip loosens as she falls at my feet, smoke rising around the hole in her stomach. I expect flesh to regrow and piece her back together, but she's still. It was self-defense. I killed her in self-defense like the spellwalkers have. I'm more in shock over how quickly it happened than I am having had the power to protect myself in the first place. Dion has done a lot of harm, so I'm not going to twist myself up over this, especially when I can slay the monster who underestimated me. I step over Dion's body and Luna backs into the corner. She thought I was harmless. The acolytes I saw before with the crate returns, and I hurl a bolt directly through his heart.
Excuse me.
He crumples with his mouth. He crumples with his mouth open. I'm a first-timer calling my power with more ease than Emil ever has. This is what I've been saying all along. He might have been reborn, but my blood comes from a long line of powers that's beginning again with me. Luna tries escaping, and I strike her down with bolts of lightning. I was wrong, Luna whispers while pressing down on her bloody arm. About what? You're extraordinary. I nod. Unfortunately, Luna, life has got to be lost to preserve it. I stand over her and cage her in lightning until she's dead. I've done what no one else could do. I killed the one bloodcaster who Eva feared confronting on the battlefield, and I executed the queen pin before she could become unstoppable. I can't wait to bust out of here and get back to Nova to celebrate with my family and Prudencia. I'll ask the crew what we can do about getting me some proper spellwalker gear, and then we'll take down the next threat. The room spins and everything reverses in rapid flashes. What little color there was returns to Luna's face as lightning retreats back inside my hands. She's running backwards. The acolyte's corpse rises and exits. I'm pressed against the wall again, and Dion's hand is back around my throat. You're supposed to be dead, I say in choked breaths. Never, Luna says. Especially not at the hands of some fool who cannot tell an illusion apart from reality. Illusion? Luna eyes one of the vials. There are potions of mine that failed to convert humans into celestials and were revealed to have hallucinatory side effects. I couldn't keep risking the health of my acolytes, so we've been selling them on the streets and filming the drinkers in the event one proves to exhibit actual powers so we can study the subjects. We've been marketing it as brew, Ness's idea, but surely he told you this given that he's on your side, correct? I'm powerless and speechless. Of course I was drinking brew like those clowns in the park. It was so lifelike, but the reality of Ness being a traitor is just as crushing. My brother thinks Ness is trying to turn over some new leaf and make an honest guy out of himself. Dion drags me through the hall with ease, even though I'm resisting and dragging my feet. She throws me into a room where I skid across the concrete, scratching my arms and face and rolling into Stanton's feet. June continues reading through a dusty book, not glancing up at me once. Luna is the last one in and locks the door behind her, as if I stand any chance at getting that close to escape with 3 bloodcasters here. Your fantasy of what makes someone a hero is your downfall, Luna says. Not a long fall, of course, since you've never known great heights. To save and rebuild the world demands a soul that will do what is necessary. You don't possess the nature or the heart that I do, but that's okay. Everyone has their role. Stanton lifts me by the back of the neck and forces me into a chair against the wall. My camera that I dropped at the cemetery for the wand is here and facing me. You crave the spotlight so badly, Luna says. Go ahead and give us a smile.
Alter, Kapitel 30, The Brightest Fire.
Ja.
Das ist ja so funny.
Alter, Brille, das machen wir ja direkt noch.
Yes.
Go.
Noch genug Zeit.
Yes.
Ja, ich meine, Zeit ist ja eh unbegrenzt, aber ne?
Mhm.
Chapter 30. Oh wait.
Meine Flasche ist so schön sauber.
Das ist
Schmeckt das
wundervoll.
Wasser doch gleich viel besser.
Das war, wenn das Wasser klarer ist, dann schmeckt es
Nicht mehr so
besser.
algig.
Hey, Algen sind gut für dich, oder?
Bestimmt.
Chapter 30. The Brightest Fire. Irgendwie. I'd never forgive myself for putting the world before my family. Turns out Eva can't heal hearts, but Wesley was quick to grab Mars nitroglycerin and we've got her stabilized down the hall while the rest of us are working away in the boardroom. Ich dachte, Nitroglycerin ist so Bomben und so. Rein damit.
Let's go.
I'm about to check in on her again when I get a notification alert on my phone. Celestials of New York just uploaded a new video. Return the urn. Brighton. Everyone turns to me. Prudencia snatches my phone. He's got to be alive. No one else knows a super complicated password for any of his accounts.
C3HFC 29730705
Dollar
K.
plus Durchzeichen.
Ja. Unterstrich, Unterstrich. Hashtag.
Alte 4. Of his accounts, unless they tortured it out of him. I've imagined so many nightmares for what they are doing to Brighton the past 4 hours I've been without him. If Luna was so cruel with her parents and their ghost, she wouldn't be merciless with my brother. Not going to lie, if things are as horrific as my gut thinks, death might be better. Play the video, Prudencia says. Atlas projects it onto the wall. Wait, was für Fähigkeiten hat der?
Die haben bestimmt einen Projektor.
Achso, ich dachte, so eine Fähigkeit. Oh, I don't know, kann das auch niemand. Egal. And all the spellwalkers are still. The thumbnail shows Brighton with a scratched cheek and swollen eye. I thank the constellations that Ma took the sleeping pill, so her heart could have have a break. If she almost died imagining what was happening to Brighton, this video would finish the job. Prudencia is shaking, and when she grabs my hand, I don't have the strength to clutch hers. Emils Hand wird einfach zerstört von ihr.
Yeah.
In the video, Brighton is in a chair with a grimy wall behind her. A grimy wall behind him. I'm immediately hit with all those memories of when Brighton watched Wild Spectacles and how I never thought he would be the subject of one. My heart is slamming when I hear Stanton's voice from the other side of the camera. Tell your brother what has to happen, Stanton demands. Brighton sits up. Go to hell. Do what they say, Prudencia shouts as if this is a video chat. Mann ey, Prudencia, so ein Boomer. Stanton comes around the camera, growling and chokes Brighton. Brighton's face is a deep red in moments and his eyes are bulging. I almost look away, but I'm never turning my back on my brother again. Stanton releases him and he gasps for air. Do it, he says through clenched teeth. Do it! I don't know. Brighton is near tears, all stoic broken. Emil. I have no idea what he's going to say. Maybe that this is all my fault, or how he's about to die because of me. The only way to get me back is to return the urn and prisoner by 7 a.m. Brighton is shaking. If you don't, I'll be executed on a live feed. Meet us at the place where we spent the last few minutes of our birthday. Stanton brings the camera closer to Brighton, and he flinches. If you don't bring the real urn, they will kill me. If you show without the prisoner, they will kill me. Do not play games. His life isn't worth mine. The Stanton clocks brighten so hard. Stanton clocks brighten so hard that the chair rocks back and Brighton hits the floor, laid out. The video ends. This was never fun and games, especially not since I joined the Spellwalkers, but it's never felt realer. I never wanted to set another living person ablaze the way I do now. I'm not a killer, but I'm already so outside of myself that I could become one to save my brother's life. Prudentius sinks to the floor, crying. Maribel slams her fist against the table. Wesley stares out the window. Stealing powers from creatures didn't mean the bloodcasters had to be monsters. Threatening Brighton's life wasn't enough. No, they had to go ahead and humiliate him on his own channel. No doubt waking him up from Stanton's lights out punch to upload the video himself. The views are coming in fast, and I wonder how many of these people have reported it or calling the authorities. I bet people are sharing links left and right, like our lives are some drama series they can't believe is unfolding in real time. Brighton's talking about the rooftop of our building, I say. No one says anything. Too stunned, I guess. I get the phoenix singing. I don't know if I can fly again, but I show up with the urn, and once we trade for Brighton, then we can ambush them. Come back with Brighton and the urn. Iris holds the urn with a grip so tight I'm surprised she's not crushing it. We can't risk losing the urn. We may not be able to stop Luna if she has the ghosts again. She'll definitely kill my brother if we don't. Luna will do far worse if she becomes indestructible. We rescue innocent, Atlas says. This is what we do. Iris takes a deep breath and doesn't look me in the eye. The one for the many. I want to claw out my own heart for saying it, but the mission has always been to stop Luna and the Bloodcasters. The mission my parents died for. My parents died too, Maribel says. It's not the same, Iris shouts. Huh? Achso. Because your parents were leaders? Get over yourself. Seniority is the only reason you and your parents were ever trusted to lead. You must be living in some fantasy land where blood isn't on your hands just because you're not doing the killing. But wake up. Brighton was brave enough to take a shot that you never would in a million years, to do the very thing our parents fought for, and now he has to pay the ultimate price? You all risk paying the ultimate price, Iris says. Maribel shakes her head. Unbelievable. You don't deserve to lead this group. No one else agrees with her, right? Eva folds her hands on the table and stares at the ceiling. I'm sorry, but I do. We are already trying to protect the country of Celestials, and if Luna can take command, she will go global and have us all killed for opposing her. Wesley stands by Ava and Iris. I think Brighton is the man, and he's done a world of good for us, but we almost died in the cemetery. This won't be a fair trade. There's too much to lose. I would die to protect you, Atlas says. Bro, you know what I'm saying, Wesley says. No, I don't. If you were captured by the Bloodcasters, I would be out this door already. But if we are too careful with our lives all of a sudden, then we should go out and live our truth while we still can. Because everything we set out to do will come to a full stop once Luna rises to power. We have to make sure we are around to fight, Wesley says. I have a family, man, and I owe it to them and everyone else to make sure Luna doesn't become unstoppable. I can't believe people are debating whether my brother's life is worth saving. If you want me on your side, I have to have my brother, I say. This is how we started our alliance, and this is how we ended. You're really going to tell me to my face that you let my brother die when he was risking his own neck to shine a light on your lives? Everyone is quiet. I'm getting Brighton back, even if that means showing up alone and without that arm. I die fighting so he knows I didn't abandon him when he needed me most. Good luck fighting your war without us. I storm out knowing damn well I won't survive this alone. I didn't grow up with powers, but I've been a brother for 18 years. No fire burns brighter than that. Ooh.
The brightest fire.
Yes, he kind of said the thing. I don't know how this counts.
Yeah.
It's almost 6 when I call Kirk. Captain Kirk? And I'm relieved when he answers. Emil? Hey Kirk, how are you doing? I've tried reaching you. I want to understand why you made the decision to become a Spectre, and I know, I'm sorry I haven't been in touch, but everything has taken a turn and only gotten worse and worse. Is this about your brother? I saw the video. Of course he's seen it. My life is some show for people to consume. Brighton's in trouble, and I might not be able to save him, but the Bloodcasters won't win if you keep Gravesend far away. But the Bloodcasters won't win if you keep Gravesend far away from the museum. Cancel the gala. Get her out of the country. I tell him everything I know about Luna's plan to use Gravesend's pure blood to make herself immortal. Immortal? Emil, that's not possible. I would have told you the same before I came back to life, I say. He's quiet. This is the first time I've trusted anyone outside Nova with a big secret. In essence, at least, turns out Keon could resurrect. He became Bautista and now there's you. Then Kirk is quiet. Emil, this is astonishing news, truly. I would love to help you work through this, but in the meantime, we can't cancel the gala. The museum needs this funding to keep its doors open. The Halo Knights will already be present to protect Gravesend, but I alert them to the threat. Luna is planning to create a potion at the height of the Crowned Dreamer, delay the gala. Gravesend will have hatched by then. The Halo Knights are capable, I promise you. I'd like to ask you more about the resurrection business. I hang up. Between the spellwalkers turning their backs on me and Kirk not taking my warning seriously, I've lost the little hope I had that we might defeat Luna. I go to Ness's room. He's lying on his air mattress and puts down the book he was reading. Finally, Firefly. I sit in the center of the room, relieved when he joins me. I tell him everything. Luna pulling off the ritual, me flying away with the urn, Brighton being taken hostage. He watches the video and hands me back my phone. She wants me back. It's not fair, I know. I'm sorry, but Brighton is innocent. What's the plan? You offer me up and once we secure Brighton, we all get away? If only it were that easy. Iris would rather sacrifice Brighton. She may have a point, he says. I don't care about some greater good. I didn't ask for these powers and I'm not my past lives. I don't know when Keon was born, and I can't tell you what Bautista's favorite meal was, and I'm already carrying around enough guilt for a war I didn't cause. But Brighton getting jumped by the Bloodcasters? That's on me. No one matters to me more than my brother, and I won't be able to live with myself if he dies. The door opens, and Maribel and Atlas walk in. The good guys are here, Ness says dryly while feigning a clap. The good guys are here. I don't know. They backed me up in there, I say. Atlas pats my shoulder. We are here to help you now, too. You and Brighton have done more than we should have asked of you. Maribel flips the dagger between her fingers while holding eye contact with Ness. You're coming willingly? He has to make this decision himself, I say. You're truly not cut out for this life, she says. It feels more like an apology than an insult. Good on all these spellwalkers who have stayed in this fight, even when they've wanted to bust out too, but the soldier life is too suffocating for me. Someone shouldn't have to be a walking weapon simply because they possess powers. I'm not about it, and I'm done once I save my brother. Ness stands. I got myself into this, and I get myself out of it. I don't know how to thank someone who is willingly marching back into the life he doesn't want for himself. I'll protect you too, I promise. Sure. This would be easier if Ness were as awful as Stanton, but as far as I can tell, he's a bloodcaster who was torn between two conflicts and chose the option that scared him the least. Eva has the urn, Atlas says. She's not going to hand it over to anyone but Iris. This is where you come in, Ness. Wow. It's abusing it. Ness looks puzzled. You trust me to shift into your leader? Maribel scoffs. Not my leader.
Not my leader.
Good, disgusting.
Disgusting.
Dang. Okay, wo kam das her? Ich glaube so nicht. I trust you, I say. Oh Gott. Ich will muten hier kurz. Gott. Sorry für die Pause. Sehr viel am Aufstoßen in letzter Zeit, keine Ahnung warum. I trust you, I say. Ness takes a deep breath and begins morphing before our eyes. There's that muted glow as he shrinks, and his skin darkens while his hair shortens and turns green. Grüne Haare?
Mhm.
Oder? Das weiß ich
Wurde
nicht.
schon mal gesagt, glaube ich. Irgendwie,
Echt?
dass die super kurze neongrüne Haare oder so.
Also. Klingt wie so ein DC-Superheld. There's pain on his face the entire time, and within a minute the transformation is complete. He looks like Arevlis, but still in his clothes. I don't know what she's wearing. He says in a voice that sounds like his own before it transitions into Iris's halfway. He makes the necessary changes as we describe her resistance shirt, white jeans and combat boots. We walk down the hall.
Richtiger so Avatar-Creator. Richtiges Pick-Crew.
Ja, okay, mach mal Ärmel ein bisschen kürzer, ja. Er so,
Alter, ich hätte voll gerne diese Power. Einfach OCs ausdenken und Point.
Ey, du wärst der beste Cosplayer aller Zeiten. Das ist
Ja,
so,
true.
okay, also du kannst einfach alles machen.
Und ich mache Bilder davon und sage, ich habe das gemalt. Weil die Menschen gibt's ja gar nicht.
Ja, true. Oder du hast das irgendwie gecosplayt oder so, mit krassen Masken
Yes.
oder was auch immer. Und dann hast du so voll deinen Account und hast du jeden Tag 3 neue Cosplays.
Ja.
Und das machst du einfach für 2 Jahre und Leute denken sich, what the fuck?
Ja.
How? Okay. We walk down the hall. I sense Atlas is uneasy with all of this, but he's going to do the right thing. Like Ness, if he had some master plan, this wasn't going to be the time to make a move. Once we get the urn, I have to figure out how to save us all. I honor my promise to Ness. Maribel barges into the professor's lounge, which I haven't been in before. Eva is stretched across a fold-out couch and comes out from under her pillow. We need the urn before your girl has a change of heart, she says, gesturing at Ness, who is standing tall as Iris. Wait, was ist passiert?
Ja,
Achso,
die gehen
Maribel.
jetzt zu Eva und Eva hat den...
Ja, Maribel hat es gesagt.
Ja.
Ich war so.
Jesus.
Ich dachte, Eva hat direkt rausgefunden, dass es nicht Iris war. Eva rubs her eyes. It's never going to work. We have to try, Ness says. It's nice to hear what Iris would have sounded like had she said these words herself. Wow. So ein Deepfaker, ey. I'm not going to let the Bloodcasters get away with the urn, but I have to get my brother, I say. Eva gets out of bed, goes into a closet and opens a safe. When she hands Ness the urn, she turns to me and holds her stare. You get one shot. She knows what's up, and she's allowing it anyway. But there's no mistaking the look on her face, this pure anguish, and hope that she won't regret handing the word over to someone who will risk it all to save his brother. We grab our gear but don't bother changing. We rush inside the car before Iris or Wesley find out what Eva has done. Prudencia comes banging out the doors, and she looks dressed for a battle too. She pulls at the backseat door, but I keep it locked. Let me in, she says. Let me in! No, Brighton is in this mess because he couldn't defend himself. I'm not risking you too. I can handle myself. Prudencia says. Sie würde das nicht sagen, sie ist ja nett. I can handle myself, Prudencia says. Voll so. Ne? Oder würdest du anders?
I can handle myself.
Ja, close. Also ist fast dasselbe.
Ja.
Please hang tight and explain everything to Ma in case. I'm not as hopeless as I was when I thought I was going into this fight alone. I will survive and I will save Brighton, and Ma will never have to panic over the death threat. I tell Atlas to drive, and we move a couple feet before the car stops. My face and Ness's slam against the backs of the front seat. The wheels continue spinning like we're stuck in a ditch. I think Iris must have caught up to us and grabbed the rear, but when I turn around, Prudencia is the only one there, and she's walking toward the car with her arms outstretched as if she's inviting me in for a hug. Okay. When she's outside my window, she snaps her fingers and the lock switches. She lets herself in, pushing me against Ness. I told you I can handle myself, Prudencia says. Her eyes are fiercely glowing like ping-ponging stars. I'm going.
Oh,
What?
was ein Cliffhanger.
What? Excuse me? Hat die ganze Zeit gehabt und versteckt? Alter, Brighton wird sich ja so
Wird sie so hassen?
Ja, ernsthaft, like, sie hat like actually das Versteck vor ihm? What the fuck?
Ja. I mean, weil sie hat ja die Tante, die sehr racist against Celestials ist.
Ach so.
Mhm. Deswegen musste sie es quasi ihr ganzes Leben verstecken.
Bro.
Mhm.
Und sie hat, like, I don't know, was ist ihre Fähigkeit? Like, ist das hier, wie nennt man das, wenn man Sachen bewegen kann?
Die Macht. Ja, sie ist ein Jedi, du hast es erkannt.
Gott, eigentlich soll ich sowas wissen. Das ist ja, also. Ja, Telekinese.
Telekinese, genau.
Ja. Telefon.
Telefon. Was hast du so für Celestial Powers? Also ich kann mir eine Hand so an meinen Kopf halten und telefonieren. Hallo. Ja.
Okay. Doch. Dann geht's nächstes Mal weiter mit Kapitel 31. Nummern werden hoch. Ja. The Trade. Yes. Von Emil. Und das erste geht los, erste Zeile. Sollen wir das vorlesen oder nicht?
My best friend has been a Celestial all along.
Damn.
Alter, das ist nicht mal so lang. Dann kommt wieder Brighton, dann kommt wieder Emil. Alter, das wird ein richtiger... Oh, Ness. Epic. Nächstes Mal kann ich wieder Ness lesen.
Actually Ness lesen, der...
Ah, bester Boy. Alter, das schreitet hier alles voran. Ey, hui.
Oh, ich finde den Kapitel von 32 witzig.
32. Epic.
Wenn ihr wissen wollt, was das ist, schaltet beim nächsten Mal wieder ein, wenn es wieder heißt Super Gurke Buchclub.
Oder kauft euch das Buch.
Ja, ich fand natürlich, kauft euch das Buch. Aber ihr könnt auch nächstes Mal dabei sein, wenn ihr Entertainment wollt. Ne?
Yes. Oder mitlesen.
Oder mitlesen. Beides. Das ist, I guess, weird, I don't know. Wir lesen nicht so gut durchgängig meistens. Aber dann bis zum nächsten Mal. Das heißt, wir haben...
Wieder Tschüss.
Ciao.